you? And so he said, well, I grow for a dispensary. And I was like, oh, so I've always wanted to get into this field. And so I talked to him, well, have you ever thought about, starting your own business? And he's like, oh yeah, I'd love to. And it's like, it's just too expensive right now. Cause that's when, cannabis was only medically. And so I told him, well, if opportunity ever arises, let's, talk more. So we kind of stayed in touch over the last 2 years, and same thing, there were no licenses for a medical facility, and the they passed the hemp law, and so he's like, let's do that. It's pretty much the same thing, CBD versus THC. It's like we can at least get our feet wet in that, and start there. And so that's what we did. We teamed together and got some of the family to help us out, and we yeah, made it happen.
That's amazing. I'm going to reintroduce you guys because I think there was an issue with the live broadcast. So let me just reintroduce Adam Valerio and Charles Talachi, who are the owners of Santa Fe CBD. They're joined here today as part of our 7th interview for the Rural Efficient Business Program interview series. And they have produced over 2,000 pounds of hemp over the course of 2 years on their 10-acre farm in Velarde, New Mexico. So they're a family-owned business, and both Adam and Charles started this business 2 years ago in an effort to bring variety to the medicinal world. So I just wanted to make sure everybody heard that again, because it's such an exciting role that you guys are playing in the industry. So we're going to jump back into the questions. What type of funding options did you utilize to support the start of your company?
So it was all just our own personal money, all investors' money, partners' money. So my family's in it, Charles's family's in it, and then we have some other partners that are also invested into it. But we didn't get any grants. It's all just our own money, basically, is how we started this. And so it's kind of nice because you have the family aspect, and you don't have to worry about answering to all these other different entities and stuff. So but we are currently looking to get some grants to get some electricity into our greenhouse, and just um, maybe like a commercial kitchen, something that can help us with manufacturing and stuff. But everything that's been invested has been um, our own money out of pocket. So
yeah, our own skin in the game.
Yeah. There you go. So do you guys split up the roles? How many employees do you have working? What does that look like for you with this business?
Charles, do you want to answer that one?
So yeah, we kind of divided our roles into our strengths. Naturally, I had the horticultural background, so my experiences, my strong points were the production side, seeing the farm all the way through, seed to harvest, post-harvest handling, curing the buds out for smokable flour, potency and purity for our oil products, seeing it through extraction, kind of handling the sales side. Also, I can speak to the cannabinoids, the plant's medicinal values really well. Like Adam had mentioned, I had been in the cannabis industry for about 4 years prior to us doing this venture. So I feel like, my experience with the cannabis industry really helps me, I guess, advocate for its benefits and its value. I've seen it firsthand. My family, Adam's family, my mom's a cancer survivor. She used the cannabis medicine, CBD and THC, medicinally throughout her chemotherapy, and it helped tremendously for her. And I've used it personally for myself, preventative medicine, treat pain, anything like that. So firm believer in the plant. And yeah, I'm not too sure what else I could add there. Adam's strong suit was more on the business side, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, I had previously had a t-shirt business, and so I went to school, for business, and so I got my concentration in finance. Kind of had I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur, basically, and so I had started with a small little t-shirt business that I did out of my home, and so I kind of did that for 10, 11 years. Got used to basically how to run a business, right? And so um, yeah, I took forward of all care of all the financial stuff. That's what I do currently now, and so I'm more of the business side. But I also help with sales and landing new vendors and stuff like that. So
That's great. Well, now that we're kind of getting into the financial end of things, I'm just curious, what efforts have you made to reduce energy at this point? You know, what are you guys doing, and do you plan to, you know, broaden that scope of from what you're doing right now? What does that look like out on your farm?
do you want me to
So our
answer that one,
farm,
Charles? Or go ahead.
yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah, our farm so far, with hemp, it's in such large volume. You grow outdoors naturally, right? Some people do produce indoor flower too for higher quality flower. But right now we're utilizing basically the sun's energy, taking advantage of the natural cycles of the plant. I think Adam did mention that we did use LED lights just to start our seeds in the early season, which are, low wattage, low usage lights also with high output. So that's one thing we did, utilizing those lights. And then just the natural sun cycle, right, to run through our whole season indoor or outdoors. I mean, we haven't opted to grow any hemp flower indoors just because it's very, I guess, money intensive. It costs a lot of money to produce indoor cannabis. So the outdoor has been really good for us. We utilized a greenhouse and just straight outdoors first year. And then as far as water wise goes, we've always used a drip system. We're still off of the natural sequoia system, the ditch system here in northern New Mexico. But off of that, we do pump into some tanks that we run out into our fields on drip lines, just to it minimalizes the weeds actually too. So it's kind of twofold. You save water and you save yourself a little bit of labor because you're not just flooding your whole field and having alfalfa and ragweed and different things pop up that you're going to have to address anyways later on too. So we try to limit our water usage in that way also. And then saving water too in our tanks for when the ditches are off, we still have the tanks to drip feed our plants on.
So for companies and businesses who are getting started out now, what would you guys recommend the first process be if they're saying, you know, I want to save water, I want to be energy efficient, I really want to set up like a green type of business? Where would you guys suggest that they start?
Well, in the hemp industry, planning, any industry, right? Planning is key. You got to have a really good plan in mind. And with our setup, I mean, automation in farming is gold. Farming is another labor intensive avenue. So the more you can automate things, they have feeders, dosatron feeders that can take up your nutrients for you and put them out at correct amounts into your field for you. This way, you don't have to mix these things manually, go in person by person, making buckets worth of stuff for each plant, and you have a couple thousand plants in an acre or so. So, but yeah, a strong plan is always good. I don't know if Adam has a little more insight on that, but I would say.
Yeah, I mean, naturally, the hemp plant doesn't actually take a lot of water to grow. I mean, it's like I can't pull up the exact numbers, but it's a from the difference between growing, like say, so it has all its benefits, right? Hemp has its natural benefits of making whether it's textiles, from clothes to paper. It takes so much more less water to produce, on an acre of hemp versus an acre of trees, and you can get more out of the actual hemp plant. So the water consumption just in itself is very, very low. But you also want to make sure that you have, feminized seeds, that you're buying the right seeds from people you trust, people you know. I mean, that before you even get into anything, um, as far as money goes, or trying to save money here, trying to be eco-friendly, you need to make sure you have the right seeds, because that can ruin your entire crop before you're done and you're out everything. We had some people that we knew that um, bought some seeds from someone that they didn't know. They ended up growing the whole season long, missed a couple male plants, and they ended up pollinating their entire uh, female plants, turning them into males, and that's basically useless at that point. Like, you can't really, you know, do much with those plants once they turn into male. You want female plants, and so that's first and foremost. I would just say make sure you know someone that has a good background and a good history of selling feminized seeds that are intended for what you're going to use it for. And our choice was CBD. So
Mhm.
So how did you decide on CBD? You know, I think there's a lot of confusion as far as what CBD is, what hemp is, what cannabis is. Can you kind of break that down for us and dummy it down for myself included of the differentiation and why you decided to go the route of CBD?
Sure. CBD at the time, like Adam was saying, it had just been the Farm Bill had passed it to be legally grown to private sellers, you know, people that hold licenses, as opposed to THC. So CBD is just another cannabinoid within the cannabis plant. It stands for cannabidiol. I'm sure lots of people know that by now. And there's non-psychoactive effects with the CBD as opposed to the THC. The hemp plant, you know, it's essentially a cannabis plant, just like cannabis that produces THC. This is just a specific variety that will produce high amounts of CBD. And now I'm sure you're seeing like CBG and CBN, different cannabinoids are kind of showing their face now too, that, you know, hemp is being grown on such a large scale. People are studying it more. We're researching it more. We're trying to dissect all the values of each cannabinoid, because there's hundreds and hundreds of cannabinoids. There's hundreds of terpenes present, and they all play a factor. I don't know if you've heard of the entourage effect, but with the hemp plant or cannabis in general, the terpene, you know, the aroma that you smell, all those play a factor into the medicinal benefit you get, whether it's anxiety or sleep inducing, you know, relaxing, things like that. In combination with the different cannabinoids like CBD, they take away ailments, inflammation, like I say, anxiety. I know there's studies being done on Alzheimer's right now to slow down the onset of Alzheimer's using cannabis, CBD also. And then CBD we chose because it's more of like a, I don't know if you'd say a socially accepted form of cannabis. It's kind of like marijuana light, you know, it doesn't get anybody high, and it has a plethora of medicinal values that I think everyone can take advantage of, even from kids. You know, there's kids with ADHD, you know, focusing disorders, epileptic disorders, things like that, that anyone can benefit from, child to elders, you know. And preventative medicine too is a really good thing out of CBD. Even if you're not necessarily sick now, but you know something runs in your family, perhaps Alzheimer's or dementia, you can take CBD just like you would a normal supplement, right? To kind of keep that at bay for you, or keep your nervous system a little bit stronger. And CBD just seemed like a really good avenue for us. And considering my background, you know, in cannabis, my firm belief in the power of the plant, I had been on the cannabis side a little bit. I saw the marketing side, so I talked with Adam a little bit onto, you know, just the opportunity of producing it would be, and being able to distribute a really high quality, locally produced product was some of the reasons for us.
So what made, or do you have ties to Velarde? What made you guys decide that that would be a good location for your farm?
That's where I currently have land out in Velarde now that has water rights on it too, and has really good soil. So we kind of decided to put roots down where we'd be most, you know, available to see it and take care of it on a regular basis. It's easier to operate on your own land. Leasing was an option, also leasing some property. But again, there's pros and cons with both. But I would say we decided to do it in Velarde more so because it's family land. It's, you know, it's always under our watch and our protection and our eyes and things like that. And we know the soil, I know the water and the mayordomo there, and yeah, it was just seemed like a perfect fit. Good land, good water, and we could produce good plants there.
That's great.
You don't want someone thinking it's, you know, THC, and then they go and destroy a whole crop thinking it's something it's not. And so Charles has a nice enclosed area, and the only thing that goes back there maybe some elk and deer.
Yeah.
Well, it'll calm them down.
Yeah.
So do you have any plans to extend? You know, do you want to grow more? Do you want to be able to produce more at a certain point?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think we want to meet, right now we're meeting the needs of kind of smaller shops around New Mexico, CBD shops, kind of smoke shops, things like that. There's a few chiropractor and naturopathic facilities in Santa Fe that carry our line also for their patients, here in Espanola as well. But me and Adam have talked about expanding. Definitely we would like to produce our products for more of the box stores, maybe Sprouts, Whole Foods, you know, and have a local quality brand again, just to represent New Mexico, because I feel New Mexico we're proud people. You know, we like our own products, and we have so much agricultural land in our state, it doesn't make sense to buy from out of state when we could produce it ourselves and kind of help stimulate our own economy, and keep our farmers working, keep our land being used and our water being used.
Right. So with, I mean, New Mexico, obviously it's going to be an ongoing battle till, the end of days of drought and water and whatnot. And I know that my parents are even struggling to get, water to irrigate their garden this year for whatever reason. How are you guys maintaining that? I know you said you had tanks. Maybe you can talk more on that. But how do you balance that out of saying, okay, this is going to be a really dry season. What do we do? How do we not lose our crops?
The tanks are our main bloodline. They're our lifeline. We're blessed in Velarde. We're right off of the Rio Grande. And most of the time, I mean, with the exception of the last few years, it's gotten kind of scary there. The river's gotten really, really low and things like that. But our fallback is always those tanks. They're a couple thousand gallons each. So we like to store water in those just for when the ditch does turn off. Because they do turn off the acequias for about half the month in July to kind of let the moss and algae die off. This way the water runs a little smoother through there. So there's always that time. One season we had a really bad rainstorm washout. Some arroyos came and they actually busted through the acequias, through the ditches. So there was a couple months where we didn't even have water. So we had to pump from another ditch more towards the river. But again, the drip irrigation, it's fed right off of those tanks. So we just turn on a pump. It drains out the tanks nice and slow, and the drip irrigation saves a lot of our water. We don't empty our tanks very fast. The 2 tanks we have will last us about a month. So if the water was too low, hopefully it doesn't get that low this year. But those 2 tanks would hold us over at least for a month, and within that month, I think I could find water somewhere else. But as far as just being blessed, I think being off the Rio Grande and we have water access almost year round. It starts in March and ends in November, so we have lots of access to good clean water out there.
That's
there's also, so we don't do this. We had talked to another farmer who had offered his greenhouses for us, and he had a hydroponic system, and so that's another way where you can kind of recycle the water. You run it through the root system and let it get its water that way, and you kind of replenish it itself, so you don't really use as much water at all. It just kind of stays in the piping system, and just basically goes in a big circle. But that was an option that we had thought about, but we never jumped on board with it. But that's, if someone else is looking in a place where they don't have the luxury of having an acequia there, or the ditch, anything like that, they can also do this method, and it's a little more productive for them, I guess, if you don't have the water rights.
Yeah, but definitely drip irrigation.
Yeah. There you go. So are you guys manufacturing your product on the land in Velarde as well, or do you go off site to do that?
Right now it's being done off site. That's part of the grant money that Adam was speaking to that we want to try and get into. It might be through the USDA, it might be through LEDA, but we would like to get facilities out there to process our own hemp and produce our own products. But right now it's done in a facility in Santa Fe, a hemp certified facility in Santa Fe. And they're vetted. They've been producing cannabis and CBD products for years now. So we trusted them to take our oil and really give us good products in return. But the future for us, like part of that expansion we were talking about, would be a commercial processing kitchen. Hopefully to process CBD, possibly THC. We're open to a lot right now.
That's great. Do you know, I mean, I don't know how much you know about their facility, but do you know if they're utilizing like any solar paneling or anything to, make functions run a little more energy efficient, or?
I don't think they're utilizing things like that right now. I'm not 100% sure. I could definitely verify. Adam, do you know anything about them using reusable?
Not that I'm aware of, but I do know, I think they're, what is it called, GMP certified, so it's a good manufacturing.
Yeah.
What is it? Yeah, so
they're good manufacturing practice certified, so
good.
Yeah.
It's a nice, good, clean facility.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, I think it would be fun if you guys can just kind of walk us through a day in your shoes and, the process. If, you're able to, that would be really exciting to hear. I wish I had asked one of you to be at your farm. That would have been a great opportunity to show it off.
Yeah. So irrigating on the farm, it happens about 3 days a week, I would say. And then, like I say, because we're on drip, we don't have so much weed and undergrowth like that. It kind of helps the plants just get the water that they need and not really flood anything else out. So a typical day, we'd probably feed our plants. We mix a little bit of food for them, not very much either, because CBD is a very low feeding plant, cannabis plant, as opposed to THC. THC is a really high feeder. But CBD just takes a little bit of, I give them fish emulsion. We're big on kind of granular supplements that break down and chelate over time, just because they're less labor intensive to give to the plants. It kind of happens a little more organically, a little more naturally. So yeah, we would get up, mix nutrients. We'd run our drip system. That would be probably one day. The next day we could probably do some weeding and then just plant maintenance, really checking for pests. There's a method called super cropping that we like to use on our plants. It encourages really big bud growth on kind of the top part of the canopy. And really, canopy management is the big thing on the farm. If your goal is to produce really good resin, really good CBD, high amounts of it, upper teens, low 20s, you really want to concentrate the growth of your plants to be in the upper canopy. You don't really want flowers in the center of the plant. That just kind of encourages pests. It encourages mildews and molds, just negative things for the plant. So canopy management is a big thing that takes a lot of our time on the actual farm tasks. I would say about 80%, 75, 80%, just keeping the plants clean, keeping them spread out. Like I say, we do a method super cropping. You kind of pinch stems, you break them to the side. It encourages new branches to come out, and you ended up with higher quality flower buds on the actual plants. This way, if it's for smokable, the terpene profile is really strong, the cannabinoid content's really strong. And if it's for extracted oil, again, quality in, quality out. If you give good quality material for extraction, we get really, really good oil in return. And it shows through our tinctures, our creams, gummies, things like that. You can really pick up the terpene notes, the cannabinoid flavor on the actual oil. So in my eyes, I really like the taste of it. It tastes just the way the plants smell, and it feels really true to the actual medicine of CBD. So yeah, that's one thing we really like to do is just canopy management. Really, we'll spend more than half our time just trimming up and playing with the plants, really. And that, like I say, it discourages pests. So we don't like to use any real hard chemicals on our plants or anything like that. If we do end up with pests, I like to use predatory insects, either green lacewings, ladybugs, nematodes. We've used other mites to fight off mites. So there's a lot of different natural weapons that we use. And like I say, granular stuff for our food is mainly how we go into the soil. We like to work a good soil. This way, all we have to do is kind of maintain pH and give the plants their water on the regular schedule, and they'll do the rest.
So what does your waste look like? Are you guys able to utilize, 80% of what you produce to put into product, to clothing, to bombs, whatever that looks like? Or what does that percentage look like to you guys?
I would say 90% of the plant gets used. The only thing that we haven't been able to use right now is our stems, because like I was telling you, our production method, we kind of get shorter, stockier plants. They're about 4 foot tall by about 4 foot wide. And we've been told that our fibers aren't long enough to use for hemp fiber. So right now we thought maybe have animal bedding or different things like that. I've used it for erosion control. So I am utilizing it, but not per se for sale on the stems, but the rest of the plant material, every last little bit of it is used, whether it's for extraction or smokable flower or anything like that.
And even with that, we actually had a local artist who reached out to us and said that he was working on a project using hemp stock, which was kind of crazy. So we gave him some of that. So in some cases, 100% of the plant was actually used.
Yeah.
Wow. That is really cool. There's so many purposes for it. It's amazing. Is there anything that's getting in your way right now of, anything that you wish you could change to make it a better production, other than having, your production sites on site? But are there any obstacles that you're running into that other companies might run into at some point?
I would say on the farm side, the THC content for what's legal for hemp, that needs to be addressed, because 0.3% THC is it's kind of it's doable for sure. But I think as an industry, the CBD and hemp industry, we would be able to produce a lot more varieties and be more successful as farmers if the THC level would be increased to maybe just 1%. Even if it was 1% and below, it would open a door for the market. It would open it huge, really. And 1% is still negligible. You won't feel a psychoactive effect till well after 3%, maybe even 4%.
Oh.
So as far as it still be non-psychoactive, a complete non-psychoactive plant, even at 1% THC. But that would be my one request. And I know I've talked to other farmers, and that's kind of been a big one for them too, is the THC content. We can hit the number, but it limits to what plants we can produce right now. It would definitely open the door to more variety, and more variety just means higher quality. If you can introduce more variety, your better chances of finding higher quality plants and crossing those plants with higher quality plants and just increasing the whole level of quality throughout the hemp and CBD market. Other than that, from the farm standpoint, I think everything else is pretty smooth and cohesive right now.
So you guys started 2 years ago. Did you start out with plants or just seedlings like you were talking about?
So we started out with seed. We started all our own seeds, about 2,000 plants by seed. We started them indoors.
When were you guys able to start actually producing product?
So it took our whole entire growing season. The first season, harvest was about mid-October, I would say. And then we gave the plants about 4 to 6 weeks to fully dry out before we actually started processing them. This gives it a chance to break down chlorophyll and let, mainly the chlorophyll just break down out of the plant and the moisture wick out nice and slow. For our smokable flower mainly, this preserves the smoothness of the smoke, the flavor of the terpenes, the flavor of the cannabinoids. This way you don't get this harsh, rough smoke on the flower side. And again, same thing with the extractable oils. The better off the cure is on the plant, the higher quality the oil in return that we get is. So it took us, I would say, well into November, December to even get some oil going. And then I think we had our first product about the 1st of February, correct, Adam?
Yeah, it was literally right when everything got shut down. We were ready to launch and start selling, and the governor said, "Okay, everyone, close your stores." And we were like, "Oh man, you got to be kidding me!" So
Curveball.
yeah. So luckily we had, we were able to do our website, but yeah, it took quite a long time. It was probably like 10 months, 8 to 10 months to get an actual finalized, product out there to the consumer, and so. But once we did that, we had all the oil already extracted, and we have everything ready to go right now. So it was a long time though. That first year was pretty rough.
Yeah. It's a big gamble, especially first time getting from the seed producer that we purchased from, and they were vetted in the industry too, so we trusted them. But there's always the unknown in farming. It's kind of the roll of the dice. You're trying to meet this certain number with the agricultural department just to even be able to have a sellable product. So that was our first major success. Was scoring right in the good numbers, the good percentages.
Well, I mean, we're about to close up, but I just want to finish with a couple of questions for you. First off, so people are aware, what forms of CBD are you producing right now, and where can your products be purchased?
So we have quite a few products. Actually, we have a pet product that's purely isolate based, which is just the CBD that's been extracted out of the plant. So you don't have any THC in that. No CBG, nothing. It's just pure CBD. We have a full spectrum product. We have 3 of them actually. We have a 250 milligram bottle. We have a 500 milligram bottle, and then a 1,000 milligram bottle for your, more for pain and just a higher tolerance you need. And that one. So the difference between the isolate versus the full spectrum is the full spectrum has the entire plant extracted into oil, and so that's what Charles was saying. Smells and tastes like the plant. And so we have that option for you if you don't like the isolate version, but you can also give that to your pets as well. We have the dose on our website if you wanted to give your pets a full spectrum option. We have a muscle cream that's a 500 milligram muscle cream, and we're actually going to be making a stronger strength muscle cream because people like that one so much. They say I kind of just have to keep reapplying, but so we're going to make maybe a 1,000 to 2,000 milligram muscle cream. We also have, the smokable flower that Charles was talking about. We offer those in pre-roll form, and then we even sell them, bulk by the pound. We grind them up for you and everything, so you just have to. It's ready to use. And then we just came out with some gummies that are also made with isolate. So it's just pure CBD, and those have been flying off the shelves too. So we have about eight to nine products. We're in some medical dispensaries, some CBD stores, all the way from Albuquerque. We're in some places in Albuquerque, Grants, Milan, um, Santa Fe, Espanola, Velarde, and El Dorado. I think. Can you think of any other ones, Charles, that we're in?
As far as stores go, I think you got them all. Yeah. And then our website, of course, SantaFeCBD.com.
Yeah.
That we always encourage to. And like we were saying, we would like to start expanding into the larger stores now too. So that would definitely be one place to look for us also, is coming soon.
That's great. Well, keep us posted. We'd love to interview you down the road, see where you guys are at, in a year or something. And we thank you so much for the time. I'm going to make my pitch of do a CBD with mentholatum and please all the abuelitas and ramitas in the north, and it'll be the cure-all.
That's true. We need to partner with them.
Well, thank you so much, Adam and Charles, for taking time out of your schedule and sharing so much knowledge with us. Truly appreciate it. This recording will be up on YouTube to share with everybody. But thank you guys again so much, and good luck with your business. I'm glad to see it thriving.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, you guys have a good day. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.
You guys. So I just wanted to share some EDD news before we get going for the afternoon. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and pull up some great stuff that's happening at EDD right now. Oops. Let me just get into this. Okay, great. Here we are. So again, I think that the first part of our broadcast was cut off. I'm Felicia DePaula. I am the program specialist for the Economic Development Department. This is my contact information. I wanted to talk about a few programs that we have going on. This week, Alex Greenberg hosted the quarterly Fund It meeting. He had a great turnout and a ton of terrific applications. So please continue to reach out to Alex for more information about this program and the next scheduled Fund It. I also want to mention that Jennifer Myers is hosting a webinar, Meet Your Recovery Coordinator, on July 20th at 10 a.m. I really wanted to spotlight this month our Collateral Assistance Program. It focuses on projects in industries related to sustainable and green industries, value added to agriculture, tourism, outdoor digital film and media, and EDD can support projects up to $250,000 or up to 50% principal. So please look into that program if you think that this could benefit you. I also just wanted to give a quick breakdown of how our Rural Efficient Business Program works. So first of all, a lot of businesses have the idea to work towards reducing energy and they just don't know where to start. A great start is logging into our website at nmruralbiz.com. Again, that's www.nmruralbiz.com. At that point, you can identify what it is you're interested in by utilizing our resource page and referencing past interviews, just like the interview that we finished up with Santa Fe CBD. At that point, you will contact me or Joanna Nelson, and we will do the work for you, connecting you to partners, connecting you to resources, and anything that might help benefit your company and just get you going in the right direction. This is it for us today. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, a huge thank you to Adam and Charles for joining us. This was a great, informative presentation. I'm hoping that we will get more CBD companies in here with amazing information. Please let us know if you have any questions, and we will shoot them over to Adam and Charles and get some answers for you. Again, thank you so much and have a great day.